So last week I shared our Wellington vlog, but what I didn't show you was our little adventure down Cuba Street, where we decided to explore every thrift store I could find. Today I'm excited to take you along as I share my thoughts on each one. So if you're into thrifting, cozy up, grab a cuppa, and join me as we explore 6 thrift stores on Cuba Street. Our first stop on the thrifting adventure was Ziggurat. I think that's how you say it. I heard that this was a great thrift store, so naturally we had to check it out first. The store itself is adorable. It's full of all these charming displays, from dresses and hats, beautiful necklaces. Although it looks small at first glance, it actually wraps around to the other side, so it was bigger than I expected. But wow, the racks are packed to the brim. Browsing is no easy feat. You couldn't push items aside to see the next piece. You actually had to pull each one out, which was a bit of a workout in itself. And don't get me started on prices. Let's just say they are up there. I mean, the selection was definitely vintage, but not exactly affordable. A lot of the pieces felt more suited for costumes than for everyday wear. So after a little bit of browsing and pulling and tugging, we ended up calling it quits, deciding that if there are any hidden gems, they're just not worth the struggle with how tightly everything was packed. Not the best start, Cuba Street. Here's hoping the next stop has a bit more thrifting magic. There was a lot happening outside Spacesuit. The prices on the fast fashion is more than what most of those pieces would have cost new. So yeah, I was quite shocked. And stepping inside, it was packed and not very spacious to move around. It looks real cool. It had a lot of high brands like Levi's, Dickies, and among other brands, and a lot of other quality brands. They actually have a list on their website, but they also had a lot of unknown ones. But if you know your brands, you might raise an eyebrow at some of these prices. For example, Dickies carpet and pants normally retail for around $130. They've got them here for $78. I mean, you just pay $50 more and you can get them brand new. And these Dickie cord pants, as I'm filming, you can buy them brand new on sale for $65. So, yeah, maybe if you find a pair of Levi's that normally retail for $208, it'd be worth it. But you really do need to know your brands before you come in. I haven't seen boots like these in New Zealand, but I have in America. And these prices, oh my gosh. Maybe they are a high-end brand that I don't know about. But I actually had to double check if this was even a thrift store, and it's not. It's a retro vintage store, which in New Zealand means secondhand goods marked right up. To be fair, there are definitely some quality pieces here. But with these markups, I would go straight to the website and just check to see if you can get the items new with free shipping or for either the same price or only a little bit more. Because these prices are just too high. Not somewhere I'd shop again. Ah, Cuba Street, you are letting me down. We finally stumbled upon our first proper op shop on Cuba Street, and it's refreshingly well organised and spacious, making browsing such a breeze. Prices are quite reasonable too. I appreciated the blanket pricing for different categories, so there's no surprises, just straightforward shopping. But the clothes, while mostly in decent condition and clean, it's all pretty much fast fashion. So if you're on a hunt for those higher quality pieces, you might be out of luck here. And as for hidden designer finds, this isn't really the place. They do pull those pieces aside and pop them on a designer rack, where prices are still fair, but definitely a bit higher. Not exactly a bargain bin. The men's section was much the same. It had a limited selection of lower quality items. In the end, we left empty-handed. There wasn't anything that really stood out, and most of the pieces did look a bit worn and tired, although tidy. So just across the road, we spotted Paper Bag Princess. Of course, we had to check it out. The store is absolutely charming. A perfect size, not too big, not too small. And even though it was full of clothes, everything was neatly organised. The racks weren't overly packed, so browsing was actually a breeze, apart from all the people, because it was full. Each item is individually priced, ranging from about $16 to $45, but I didn't see anything over $50. The selection has been carefully curated, so you're only getting quality pieces. I didn't recognise a lot of the brands, so while they may still be fast fashion, it's definitely on the higher end. Plus, quite a few items even had the original tag still on, so they'd never been worn. They even have designer racks. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. Says he's a designer, but I don't know who these designers are. Although I didn't recognise any of the names, what really surprised me was that the prices were right in line with the rest of the store, not marked up at all. I have to say I really appreciate that. I also noticed that there wasn't a men's area in the store. It's all females. Now, I did notice that the sizing did lean towards the smaller size. Thanks for the honesty. But I still managed to find one fantastic piece.
That looks better.
Oh.
That looks better.
Thank you, Paper Bag Princess. I definitely come back. It feels like the kind of place you'd want to visit regularly to snag the best finds. It's clearly popular for a reason. Now, this shop is what we call a true op shop here in New Zealand. A charity store with a bit of everything, from clothes and knickknacks to furniture. It was surprisingly large, especially for being right at the top of Cuba Street. But the prices, I don't want to sound like a complainer, but they're all over the place. Some items were dirt cheap, but those tended to be low quality fast fashion pieces or just anything that seemed halfway decent was priced between $20 and $200. And honestly, the pricing didn't make much sense to me. It was like they were pricing things as a vintage stock shop on some things, and then as an op shop in others. Make up your mind, are you a vintage store or are you a hospice shop? You can't be both. Because of this, I actually lost interest in browsing because of the prices being so inconsistent. However, my lovely Ayla found a costume for me. So we did grab that for a fancy dress we're heading to later this month. We've got one final stop just around the corner on Vivian Street. So here's hoping we strike gold there. And here we are at our final stop of the day, Recycle Boutique. It's not quite on Cuba Street, but very close to the corner. This place is massive and bustling, making it a little tricky to film. I did find that the clothes were a mixture of high-end designer brands and unknown brands, with prices ranging from $25 to about $80. So there are some great value for the quality, but you really need to know your brands to spot the best deals. The layout was well organised with a decent men's section, though the main focus seems to be on women's fashion. Unfortunately, I didn't get time to explore as the family was ready to wrap up, so I decided to put them out of their misery and go home. I'll have to come back here because I definitely didn't spend enough time to give it a real proper review. To be honest, I was a little bit disappointed, but it's no worries because I'm going to head down to Jackson Street in Petone and check out their 7 thrift stores, all of which are charity stores. So I'm hoping they'll be a little bit more promising. Until then, why don't you catch up on what we've been doing, and I'll see you next time. Bye.